What up, YouTube? Welcome to another episode of KM Videos. 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 True stories. Today's episode takes place LA County Jail, Men's Central, Module 3200 on 3000 floor in the game module. 1995, I had been in there probably 6 months at this point. Lil Hog then rolled it up. About 7 homies then came and went. So now it's me, my crimey Rosco, and the big homie Cousin Kerry. Now I had done a lot of time with Cousin Kerry, a lot of county jail time with Cousin Kerry. Biscayne Center, LA County Jail with my homie Big Cousin Kerry. Oh, Cousin Kerry. This dude is one hell of a character. Funny as shit, but also serious. Cousin Kerry comes around to my bunk, he's sweeping, and he like, hey homie, he like, man, this clam, he's still tripping off the white boy. White boy got his leg back. So Cousin spins around, and Cousin starts moonwalking backwards like Michael Jackson. Cousin Kerry was so smooth on his feet, it looked like he was gliding across the floor, because you know the floor was clean and smooth. And he's just back walking, looking just like a Michael Jackson and Penny Loafers. And he gets to dude's bunk and he looks up, because dude's sitting right up on his bunk, and Cousin's kind of short. Cousin started making these sounds like he was beatboxing, and nobody in the dorm knew what he was doing. And then Cousin starts with this acapella.
Annie, are you okay? Are you okay, Annie? Annie, are you okay? So, Annie, are you okay? Are you okay, Annie? Annie, are you okay?
And he says,
No! You've been struck by a smooth criminal.
That's the big homie. I got a lot of love for the homie. And, you know, when I met him, he was kind of on some bully status, but never had no issues with Cousin. There was this one period in time where the sheriff was on me real tough. And Cousin Kerry was hanging in a motel down the street from my house. So from that motel, you could see up the block. And Cousin came over one day, he pulled up, he like, man, there's some niggas down in the motel looking at you. And I'm thinking, damn, who could be way down there in the motel looking at me? So I don't know if Cousin's telling the truth or not. So I grab the thing, I jump in the car, I go down to the back of the motel through the alley. Because this is my domain. I know the ins and outs of the hood. So I come around through the alley and I whip out. But when I look through that little rear view window and I can see the passenger and the driver, and both of them kneel down. They was police. They had on sheriff windbreakers. I'm like, oh shit, I done messed up. I get the hell up out of there. And so Cousin was telling the truth. Police was watching me and staking me out. So I'm good with Cousin. Like, Cousin is good with me any day. You know how many people probably could have told me what was going on and didn't? You know how many smokers probably seen them police down there? And they ain't doing nothing in the motel but slanging and smoking and bucking. They ain't doing nothing in the motel but slanging, bucking, and smoking. So it had to be some smokers or some homies that done seen the police down there. And you know the police ain't watching y'all because they not arresting y'all. And they got binoculars on, so they looking elsewhere. They not looking at the motel, they looking up the block. And I'm the only one up the block with illegal activities at this time. So me and Cousin, we good. And so the homie Lil Petey Whack comes in our cell. Lil Petey Whack is a YA baby. And you know those type, they usually fearless and love to fight. I don't know how tall these dudes are, but Wack is short, Cousin Kerry is short. They about the same height. Both of them are very strong. They can bench press a lot of weights. Like I say, Wack was a YA baby, so he got this young strength. He's cock strong. He's with the business. Cousin is a seasoned vet. Cousin is an OG from the war era, the original war era. with the Petey Whacks and Keita Rocks and all those type of dudes. Little Petey Whack can't stand Cousin Kerry. So we up in there, and little Petey Whack always trying to bring up an argument with Cousin Kerry. Cousin Kerry just downplays it. He's in trial at this time, facing a murder, looking at 25 to life, or as he would say, a death penalty case. Cousin Kerry practiced being a Jehovah's Witness. And Rosco, he kept a little small Bible that he liked to read from time to time. Cousin Kerry had a big old Bible, right? And Cousin Kerry had these gold framed glasses. And Rosco told him one day, just out the blue, Rosco said, "Cuz, throw them glasses away, cuz. Throw them things on the tier or something. Step on them, break them." Cousin Kerry said, "Why, cuz?" And Rosco says to Cousin Kerry, every nigga that wear them glasses, go to court and go to trial looking studious, come back with a life sentence. He said, "Man, if you want to go home, throw them glasses away." And Cousin Kerry says, "Nah, I'm not doing that." And Rosco tells Cousin Kerry, "Well, go on and get your life sentence then, nigga. When you get life, remember I told your ass, you go up in there looking all smart, they look at you as a smart murderer." Of all the characters that I did time with, seemed like all of them could have been stand-up comedians, except little Petey Whack. Petey Whack wasn't for no jokes. Petey Whack was serious all the time. YA baby ain't never had no pussy until he got out. And Cousin Kerry is known to tell these stories that are not believable to people we know, but very believable to people that don't know him. And there was this one famous story about Cousin Kerry having his own helicopter and landing it on Bryanhurst. So some dude comes up in the module on the rival row, and he hears Cousin Kerry's name over the tier. And so he says, "Is that big Cousin Kerry rolling 60s?" He like, "Yeah, who that?" He like, "Cuz, tell us that story about your helicopter and your Ferrari." And half of the tier falls out laughing. Cousin Kerry looks serious and kind of upset. But I don't know why, because I've heard Cousin tell this story with my own ears years ago. So Rosco and Wack say, "Cousin, don't embarrass us, cuz. Tell them niggas that story ain't true." And Cousin don't say nothing. Lil Petey, he gonna keep you in some shit. Like, his whole day is consisted of drama. And I look at Wack, and Wack looks at me, and Wack said, "Cuz, I ain't going nowhere." And I say, "Well, cuz, I ain't going nowhere. But I'm really just trying not to be scary. I'm trying to stay down with Petey Whack because Petey Whack think he's tough, and he's looked at as a tough guy, right? This bravado type of dude." Like, Wack ain't no punk. Wack is really with the bullshit. Just like his name says, Wack is Wack, man. That dude is crazy. And so I'm going to stay down with him. Roscoe's laid back. Like, he minds his own business. He don't want no problems. He's a jokester too. But when it go down, Roscoe's going to for sure stand up. So Rosco and Petey Whack sit up on their beds like they upset, like it done struck a nerve. So they tell Cousin, "Man, tell the niggas that shit ain't true." And cousin just stands there, man, reading his Bible. And so Cousin Kerry quotes something from the Bible. And Rosco say, "Nigga, that's a lie." And Petey Whack says, "Nigga, stop lying so much." So Cousin Kerry say, "I ain't lying." They say, "You lying again. Nigga, you tell 3 lies, we gonna fuck you up." So Cousin gets quiet. I get quiet. I'm just looking like, damn, why they doing a big homie like that? So this is like the little homies against the big homie situation. Big Cousin's OG, like he's really OG. He grew up in the V&Gs. And he's talking about this Cutlass and this Corvette in front of his house. So the homies remind Cousin, V&Gs and the hood, they right next to each other. We'll send some homies over there and see what's in front of the house. If it's not a Corvette and a Cutlass in front of your house, nigga, it's gonna be a problem. Cousin puts his head down, and then he says, "Nah, they in front of my house right now." So now Petey Whack's explaining to Cousin Kerry why he don't like him. He said Cousin Kerry was a bully back in the day and would bully the little homies. So Wack tells him, I'm grown now and I'm your size now. Nigga, you can't bully me no more, nigga. So Rosco jumps up in Cousin's face and Rosco said, yeah, cuz, back when I was going to Horseman, I did school one day and I came on Bryanhurst and the police was chasing me and you start yelling and pointing, get them little niggas, cuz, get them little niggas, cuz. He said, I never forgot that, homie. So I'm like, wow, like, they really tripping on the big homie. So I tell the homie, start Cousin Kerry out, man. Cousin Kerry's irreputable, man. Leave that dude alone. So they leave him alone. Cousin Kerry gets on the phone, he's talking to somebody, and he's talking, and the homie say, there you go lying again. Cousin Kerry got these pictures of some of the homegirls, and, you know, he's reminiscing, and he talks about his Corvette and his Cutlass on Dayton's. And they say, cuz you lying, why you lying? But I know Cousin Kerry had this Cutlass or Regal, whatever it was, on Dayton's. I know this to be a fact, but this was years earlier. I don't know about this Corvette, but the homies just say lying. Cousin Kerry got us by like 5 years. He's about 5 years older than all of us. So I tell the homies, nah, cuz ain't lying, he had that Cutlass. And they say, yeah, he ain't got nothing. If that nigga had all that, he wouldn't be in here now. And I'm like, all right, whatever, man. Y'all want to do the homie like that, all right. So cousin say, man, I'm going to call my nephew, man. My nephew will verify this. They said, nigga, you better not be lying. If you're lying, it's on. So he calls home to his nephew. His nephew don't answer. They say, man, you skating on thin ice. So he calls, he get his nephew on the phone. Some way, somehow, the conversation goes left. And they tell the homie to hang up the phone. Rosco could hit damn near 500. Cousin and Wack probably close to 400. And so I'm in here with all these strong dudes, and these strong dudes want to go at it. I don't know what I could add to this shit, right? And I ain't really with the homie on homie shit, right? The homies look at Cousin Kerry, and they rush him. They rush little Cousin Kerry, and they rush him to the ground. They got him face first to the ground, and Roscoe's on his back. Roscoe's heavy, so Cousin can't move him up off of him. Wack is on his legs, got his legs pinned down, and he's trying to break his arm. He got his arm behind his back like the police, and he's trying to break his arm. But Cousin's too strong. He can't break his arm. The Wack yells at me, cuz, help us, help us. I'm like, man, I'm not in that. And Wack is frustrated. His frustration is growing and growing. Roscoe's just calm and mellow, like he knew Cousin couldn't get away, or couldn't do nothing to him. And then Cousin say, cuz, you trying to break my arm. And that's just it. Wack just couldn't take it no more. And this shit was like, it was like Bewitched or I Dream of Jeannie. Snap your fingers and everything changed, right? It's like Wack then got up, grabbed the bag, and got the bag over Cousin's face at the snap of a finger. I'm talking about it happened that quick. I don't remember where he got the bag from, when, or how he went to go get it, none of that. But I remember he put this bag over Cousin's face. And Cousin's trying to scream, but it's being drowned out. And the bag is steady blowing up. The bag is blowing up like a balloon as Cousin's voice gets lower and lower and he's out of breath. And he's about to lose consciousness. I see his eyes. He looks up and his eyes roll up in his head. I felt like Spike Lee, so I'm going to just do the right thing. I got up out my bed, and pop! I popped the bag. Wow! And the bag opens up. And it's like Cousin gets all this breath again. And they're like, cuz, why y'all doing me like this? Why y'all doing me like this? And the homies look at me. Rosco kind of cracks a smile. But Wack is looking at me like, nigga, what did you just do? I just saved the homie's life. And so they let cuz up. I'm like, cuz, y'all shouldn't do the homie like that. And let him up. I saved this nigga. And Wack said, cuz, you saved that nigga. I'm like, yeah, I saved him for sure. Maybe he did have a helicopter. Maybe he did land it on Bryanhurst. Maybe he did have a Ferrari and a Corvette. I don't know what the hell he had and didn't have. But the enemies were laughing and clowning. And the homies didn't like that. Like, you can't do a 6-0 like that. Like, that's embarrassing. Like, you embarrass one homie, you embarrass us all. And we can't get to the rivals, but we could get to Cousin Kerry. I'm always stand up for what's right, not what's wrong. If I do something wrong, I was just quick to judgment, ignorant, and will try to correct my wrongs. That's the type of guy I am, right? Like, this homie on homie violence up in the cells, shit wasn't really cool to me, but you gotta do what you gotta do. And once again, you have to figure out what is your position when it goes down. Are you on one side or the other? Are you gonna get in it or are you gonna stay out of it? I always find a way to get myself involved if the homie's involved. But that's gonna do it for my story today. I'd like to thank you guys for watching. Be sure to click the like button and leave a comment. If you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. I'm out of here. Peace.